Good day. I'm Amanda Botha, and today I want to talk to you about the difference between a protective and a substantive right relating to land. In the South African public sector, various legislative requirements govern immovable assets, specifically land. Entities are often granted certain rights over the land, and for them to determine whether they control the land as a result of these rights granted, they need to assess whether the rights are protective or substantive in nature. As always, just a reminder that the views expressed in this presentation are my own and not that of the Accounting Standards Board. Official positions of the Accounting Standards Board on accounting matters are determined only after extensive due process and deliberation. An important principle to keep in mind when it comes to the recognition of an asset in an entity's financial statements is that the entity must control the resource. When an entity has control, it means that it is able to use the resource or direct other parties to use the resource to benefit from the future economic benefits or service potential that is embodied in the resource. Control is evidenced by an entity's rights and obligations arising from a binding arrangement. IGRAP 18 on recognition and derecognition of land provides guidance on when an entity should recognize and derecognize land as an asset in its financial statements. You might want to refer to an earlier recording that explains the principles in IGRAP 18. I have included a link to that recording for your information. Let's recap the important principles in IGRAP 18. IGRAP 18 explains that control of land is evidenced by the following criteria. Firstly, legal ownership. This is when the owner is the registered title deed holder of the land. And secondly, the right to direct access to land and to restrict or deny the access of others to land. This is demonstrated by considering the following indicators. Can the entity direct the use of the land's future economic benefits or service potential to provide services to beneficiaries? This includes the ability to decide how and by whom the land can be used. Secondly, can the entity exchange, dispose of, or transfer the land? And or lastly, can the entity use the land in any other way to generate future economic benefits or service potential? An entity needs to apply substance over form to conclude whether or not it controls the land. For example, when one entity has legal ownership, while another entity has the right to direct access to the land and to restrict or deny the access of others to the land, in applying substance over form, the land will be recognized by the entity that demonstrates that it has the right to direct access and restrict or deny access of others to the land, irrespective of the legal ownership. To conclude if the rights granted to an entity in a binding arrangement results in the entity controlling the land, it is important to distinguish between substantive rights and protective rights. Let's have a look at the difference between these two rights as described in IGRAP 18. To have a substantive right means that the entity has a present ability to make decisions about the land, such as how to use the land, when and to whom to dispose the land, and at what price. When an entity has a substantive right, it can direct access to the land and restrict or deny access of others to the land. A protective right is designed to protect the interest of another party or the public, often by requiring approvals for certain actions, in this case decisions relating to land. When an entity is granted a protective right, it will therefore not have the power to direct or restrict access to the benefits associated with the land. Once you understand whether you have a substantive or a protective right, what does it mean in assessing control of the asset? When an entity is granted a substantive right and that right is presently exercisable, it means that the entity controls the land as it is able to direct or restrict the use of the asset in generating future economic benefits or service potential. The entity will thus meet the second criterion in IGRAP 18. When an entity is granted a protective right, the entity is able to protect the interest in the land, but because it does not have the power to direct or restrict access of others to the land will not be under its control. Let's look at an example that explains substantive and protective rights in assessing control of land. A municipal council has the right to sell portions of land under its control, but for the sale to be effected, regulatory approval from the provincial government is required. The municipality has a substantive right over the land, as it can decide to whom the land can be sold and at what price. The provincial government merely has a protective right over the land to ensure that, for example, the municipality does not dispose of the land when it could be used to achieve a specific service delivery objective. In this example, the municipality has a substantive right over the land and it therefore controls the land. The land is recognized by the municipality as an asset in its statement of financial position. This concludes my presentation. If you find the presentation useful, hit the like button, share and comment. For more presentations like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.